Okay, 1844, good luck. So we've not played before, we have no head-to-head score there. Okay, who goes for the Dutch defense? What do I want to do? Let's just try and challenge the center. I'm going to still put the bishop on the diagonal. Important times. Well, we've done virtually identical numbers of rapid games. Just a few games off. Okay, I'm going to try and really challenge for the center. Doesn't need any thinking time, moving practically instantly there. Just trying to figure out where to put the bishop, probably on this diagonal, but otherwise we might just try and simply gain space. Depends obviously what our opponent does. So any reason not to push here? We come down, I guess we just push on. So I think b4 looks like a fine. b4, knight across the pawn's a little bit vulnerable. Let's just go slow and steady does it and go b3. And then try and get the bishop developed and then figure out a plan. Okay, it kind of takes that decision away from us, so I think it's probably better to take instead of completely clogging it down. But see, here and here could happen anyway, so let's try and open a file. He knows what he's doing, doesn't he? He knows what he's doing. Okay, so bishop up's a move. Maybe you do this, but then we get a square. Maybe you move the rook. I think I should just move the queen immediately, though. Make sure the knight's guarded, just in case. Probably got to do something like this, either move the rook or go forward. Yeah, my opponent really knows what they're doing here. So let's move the knight out the way and possibly back. I guess this knight will probably move somewhere. Indeed, indeed. Let's get the bishop up then with a view to rook across. I mean, maybe I want this rook across, bishop down, but I don't want to take the knight when it comes in and give up this valuable bishop. So probably this one. So let's just bring this rook across. Yeah, indeed, he's playing it perfectly so far. Anything much we can do about it? I can drop either knight back. They're the two candidate moves, so does it matter? If I drop this one back, this knight's a bit stuck in it. So I'm going to drop this one back and try and go here. Just charge this knight. This one in emergency maybe could drop back. This bishop could maybe come back here. Probably would have been a better natural square, but I want to try and deal with this knight. Not easy. Then you've still got to consider, is there any spectacular sacrifice at some point that might well come along? So knight in, I'm just going to still drop back here. And there is a pin on the queen. Could be valuable, but dangerous, very dangerous. Okay, so he's moved the queen over. So bishop back is probably the natural move here. I don't see any other even candidate moves now. Let's just come back. Knight guards this pawn at least for one move. I might have to push forward. But that's what I'm trying to do, is drop the knight back to challenge here. But this could easily collapse, couldn't it? Say he moves the knight somewhere. We end up having a bunch of trades somehow. This structure could then suddenly vanish. Knight here is a potential as well. Knight takes, pawn takes, but it gives him the potential to then push his pawn on. And g takes, it could be a good structure, but it just feels dangerous, which is why I'm looking at dropping back. But that tempts us to go forward and hit the bishop and the knight. f4 instead. If knight takes, g takes to keep the structure intact. It's possibly the best we can do, actually. I'm going to change my plan. I'm going to go that way. Hit the knight and the bishop, but actually no, let's not pre-move because it is a rapid game, but I'm probably going to go with the g pawn to try and keep this structure intact to stop these pawns blasting through. But then I'm going to have a bit of a problem here to deal with. Ideally, we could nudge the pawns forward. That would be nice. Okay, so he's gone across to guard. So we could take here now. He's leaving this where it is. And that is dangerous. That's dangerous. But take, pawn takes, rook takes, queen takes. Is there a nasty discovery for this to collapse? The knight's what I'm trying to go for. So is there something nasty? Takes, 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 takes. The knight still guards the pawn. I don't see any immediate attack to the queen, so I think it's takeable. But if that knight moves, there's a lot of pressure here. Say knight in. Let's just worry about it afterwards. You should try and calculate it as best as you can, but knight in's dangerous, but the bishop does cover. If he doesn't trade though, I can double my rooks up. Excuse me. I've just got the cursor off the board there, so there's no accidental slips, but I've pre-moved in case he takes the rook, which he's done. So yeah, is knight in a move? It's well covered, bishop, knight, queen, but my bishop would hang, and in turn the pawns could hang. But knight in, if we take, you take here, you attack the queen. He's gone across that same concept. Right now it's double protected. So I think I'm okay to push the pawn on, but it's dangerous. It could go wrong. He's threatening rook across as well now. So rook over. So rook over stops rook across. Rook over. Takes, takes. Takes here. You're giving up a pawn, but you take a lot of pressure off. You're getting control of the file. Now I could just chuck the pawn forward here, even with a4. Allow rook across. Is that worse? Possibly. Yeah, I'm going to gamble here. I think the d file is quite important. So if he takes here, I'll just take back and give up on a pawn. I mean, there might even be a chance to trap the queen, so we'd have to just figure it out. If he takes, I could take with the queen, but then it allows rook across. But we do directly hit the queen. If you take, rook over. Might be a trap. So just something we've got to take our time depending on what our opponent does here. And hope we don't blunder some nice tactic with the knight jumping in somewhere. Hopefully not. Oh, that's the pawn. I'll just quickly get this. I'll just return the call once the game is over. I've got to be careful about these knight checks still. I think I only have one realistic move here. Back. Going forward is too dangerous, so I'm going to drop back there. And of course, I've lost my train of thought a little bit there, just going to get the pawn, so I'll try and reset myself. Pawn up looks like a nice move. But yeah, a4 takes a lot of pressure off here. But it makes it harder to then nudge the pawns forward. So a3 could be a move to go b4 and c5. Could be, but then we're conceding control of the d5 square potentially. Not easy to break through. I might need a move like e4 and try and open things up. Okay, gone h6, a nice holding move, so I like the idea of e4 here. Pawn down though could become a bit of a problem, couldn't it? So what about knight back instead and threaten to trade something? And gives up this pawn immediately, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm going to play a3 and try and take this off the table. Maybe just edge forward. See, I've got to try and play reasonably quick here. We've both lost half of our time. But b4, c5, it gains space. It does maybe run the risk of conceding d5, but gives us a lot more control over the dark squares potentially. Yeah, h3 like our opponent has done h6, but it gives him a target. It gives him a target. The black king is a bit more open, but the black pieces are a little bit more developed. That's what it feels like. So he's gone back. So here, there's always a potential. It's not a move right now, but it's always a potential. Knight across, and I guess you just go here to stop the jump. So knight back. Yeah, I think knight back seems like a move, and try and just get a little bit further forward. We open up the scope for a potential trade as well. Knight in now is covered. The knight's got options. Not easy coming up with a plan. Like, rook across is a very, obviously, natural move. We could trade, but we don't have to. We could just develop our knight. So he's gone across, allowing us to jump forward. So I assume I go here, hit the bishop. But I could go here, but I don't see the point to that. Let's go here. If I'm on d4, I'm just blocking everything up. I don't see any benefit. There could have been one, I'm just not seeing it. Maybe h4 might be a bold move to stop g5 and threaten h5 ourselves. h4, but once we've gone forward, if the knight ever gets to g4, we can't easily kick it away then. Risk and reward. I'd expect maybe just bishop back fairly quickly. And then do we want to trade a bishop off for this dangerous knight? And then try and get control of the open file. That could be an option, actually, could be. If we trade the bishop for the knight, it takes away the risk of the knight jumping in. Of course, there is the bishop pair versus bishop knight. A little bit of risk, but it feels good, and then we can try and get onto this open file. Okay, he doesn't have to move the bishop. Obviously, it is protected, this move. He might be looking at launching forward, but right now, takes, and the queen would come through. But let's just worry about our move when it's our move. Yeah, the bishop's gone back the other side. So is it feasible to go forward? But see, there's a big risk that the knight is then forever in our camp, isn't it? So I kind of like the idea of giving up the bishop for the knight and then maybe forward, but then you can maybe sacrifice. No, I'm not convinced, not convinced. I'd like the queen on d2, but there's always this potential. It's potential, isn't it? Potential. What about forward here with c5? But again, we're maybe conceding this ground, but just push the pawns forward. I'm going to take an enormous risk here, I think. I'm going to play queen across. Now, there's always this potential. Right now, we can take. If the bishop ever gets deflected, you're potentially losing your queen, but I'm going to try and get forward, I think. Not easy for either side to try and find a really good plan. So the queen has moved out the way. Okay, that's a good move. So I'm going to take now. Remove this risk, and I'm going to try and push the pawns up. Take the pressure off this pawn. Now I'm going to get ready to push up here. Obviously, he could take, and we can take back either way. The g-pawn might actually be quite a good structure. King feels relatively safe. He's gone back. The queen up looks nice now. Pawn up looks nice. Queen up does actually create a threat, doesn't it? So let's go here because we create a threat. And then c5 is still a potential move, but like I say, it does maybe create a bit of a weakness on d5, but got to try and push those pawns forward at some point. No, so maybe h4. Now the knight's gone. h4, h5. Feels like a nice attacking idea, but that's the immediate threat. Pawn on, we can still queen check. I guess you drop back, and I don't see an actual follow-up, but maybe knight across. Queen here, knight here. Yeah, that's what he's done. So I can check. Back either way. Oh, hold on, check wins the rook, doesn't it? Yeah, the rook's not guarded. That should be game. The rook's not protected. The rook's not actually protected. You've got to step back there. Could be game over now. It is, yeah, because he has to step back and we take the rook with a check. So it's a little bit of maneuvering there, a little bit of good luck as well. Let's just pause so we don't accidentally start another game. And then we'll see how it panned out. I played one game before this one, but that one was over very quickly, so I haven't actually featured this one. This one, I'll just have a very quick flick through. It's just a simple one move blunder by our opponent here. So I haven't actually featured that one. This is the one that we've just played. So that's 30 moves. They're the move times for both players. Let's request an analysis. In particular, we're trying to learn from any opening mistakes, see if we've blundered anywhere, but it felt like a comfortable game, but hard to actually make any progress. And yeah, black was better, so we have made a mistake somewhere here. Black was better by +2, but we still played 95 versus 79 on the accuracy, so we've just gone a little bit wrong in the opening, but without any bad blunders. So let's try and take a quick look through. Not an opening I play all that often with either colour. This is all okay, but b3 is our first inaccuracy. We should have actually played the knight forward, threatening to jump in. So we should have played knight to g5 there. Otherwise, nothing else is being flagged here until knight to f4. I should have played the... well, that's odd, isn't it? Bishop back to a1, so you guard your pawn. And you take the pressure off the knight threatening to take, I suppose. Well, you can understand it now, but that's what I should have done. So knight forward was a mistake, and it's plus 1.8 for black now. And then, yeah, you should have taken the bishop. There must be a nasty discovery with the knight moving. So queen takes... oh, the bishop just drops back. h3, rook across. It's a very slow, steady line, isn't it? Knight comes back to guard the knight. But this is what black should have done. Instead, rook across was a blunder. And now we're +1 better, so we've won a pawn here. Yeah, knight should have come forward into the centre. So we've now tried to gain control of that open file, and we're just trying to find a plan to manoeuvre forward. And that's another blunder, and it's now plus 4.6, so queen forward creates a threat. Then g5 just misses the fact that the rook is hanging. Obviously, I only saw it myself after I'd thrown the check in, that we're trying to figure out a plan. So it is what it is.